Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. Time for your daily dose of reality. Remember Gary Cohn, one of Trump's guys, former Goldman Sachs dude? You know, one of the people we kept saying, he's hanging around some of these guys. He's bringing them into his administration. Not too sure about that. But then he'd have these guys do his bidding, so to speak. Like, okay, they're part of the club, but they're doing what he wants. And that's why I talked about earlier, like, we're going to have to sit back and watch. Are they going to try to push the normal status quo agenda, since these people are from Goldman Sachs? Or are they going to actually do what Trump wants them to do, which is not what they're used to doing. They're used to doing it the other way. So there's already been a couple of cases where I've shown they're doing it Trump's way. Trump is saying, this is what I want done, you're going to go do it. Which is a good thing, of course. The scary part is that these people he's, surrounding himself with, some of them anyways, are from the likes of Goldman Sachs. If you want to pick one too big to fail bank that is inside the government more than anybody else, as far as companies or banks for that matter, it's Goldman Sachs. But an interesting thing here is taking place, basically. Gary Cohn backs reinstating Glass-Steagall, breaking up the big banks. In an unexpected statement made by former COO of Goldman Sachs and current director of Trump's National Economic Council, Gary Cohn told a private meeting with lawmakers on the Banking Senate Committee on Wednesday evening that he could support legislation breaking up the largest U.S. banks. You want to talk about anti-banking, anti-establishment, and he's from Goldman Sachs? What the? A development that could provide support to congressional efforts to reinstate the Depression-era Glass-Steagall law and impact, if not so much his former employer, Goldman Sachs, whose depository business is relatively modest, then certainly the balance sheets of some of Goldman's biggest competitors, including J.P. Morgan and Bank of America. Again, this is a Zero Hedge article, by the way. What Cohn may not have mentioned is that with rates as low as they are, issuing loans, i.e. profiting from the net interest margin spread, remains far less profitable than trading and underwriting securities in a world in which virtually every so-called developed world central banks is either directly spawned from Goldman or is advised by an ex-Goldman employee. The remarks surprised some senators and congressional aides, and Jason Nipfor, who attended the Wednesday meeting, as they didn't expect a former top Wall Street executive to speak favorably of proposals that would force banks to dramatically rethink how they do business. Again, I've talked about this at length. You cannot have a bank that's supposedly a normal bank. People deposit money there, they give out loans, etc. And then, of course, by removing Glass-Steagall, let's let them become massive investment powerhouses. So big that if they fail, guess who bails them out? And that started under Clinton. He started the process to remove Glass-Steagall. That was done under him. So, just to let you know how long ago it was, late 1990s. But then Bush didn't change anything. Of course, they changed the rules a little bit, make it even, as far as regulations go, make it a little easier for people to get housing. Obama steps in, and, we want to give everybody everything for free. And we saw how that turned out. Subprime borrowers massively foreclosed, on the adjustable rate mortgages. And all these banks who write derivatives contracts to each other and then back them with this credit default swap, so-called insurance, with each other. If one of them goes down, they all go down. Thus, we have too big to fail. So this would be a very good step in the right direction, of course. As Bloomberg further notes, Wednesday's Capitol Hill meeting with Cohn was arranged by Senate Banking Committee Chairman Mike, I like that name, Crapo. We're going to call him Crapo. And included lawmakers from both political parties and their staffs. The discussion covered a wide range of topics, including financial regulations and overhauling the tax code, the people said. The Wall Street Journal adds that Cohn was asked by, oh God, not this woman, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat, Massachusetts, whether the administration planned to carry out a promise included in the Republican 2016 platform and made by the Trump campaign to restore the law separating traditional commercial banking from Wall Street investment banking, which, much as I sometimes can't stand this lady, she has a good point finally. The law was repealed, again, who was in charge then? Clinton. In 1999, Cohn expressed an openness to working with Warren on the issue and said he could support a simple policy completely separating the two businesses, these people said. There are various ideas for restoring some form of Glass-Steagall, running the gamut from splitting apart firms completely to separating their various operations under an umbrella holding company. I think the first one sounds good. Splitting apart firms completely, not separating their various operations under an umbrella holding company. Nah, thanks, but no thanks. We'll take the first, we'll take what's behind door number one. While Cohn's comments are consistent with other statements by Trump administration officials, it isn't clear how much support there is for the idea among Republicans more broadly. Warren has, in the past, introduced a bill she called the 21st Century Glass-Steagall Act. In the Congress, it received one Republican co-sponsor. Additionally, while Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin has also said the administration is open to implementing some version of President Donald Trump's campaign promise. Again, which version? I hope it's the part of the one, door number one. But in his January 17th confirmation hearing, he expressed concern that separating out banks and investment banks right now under Glass-Steagall would have very big implications to the liquidity in the capital markets and banks being able to perform necessary lending. So I guess too big to fail has a different meaning now. Now, too big to break apart. Not only are they too big to fail, we're worried that they're too big to break apart. Nah, break them up, no matter what the cost. That's what I say. While the Trump team has endorsed the Glass-Steagall idea, it hasn't come forward with its own proposal. Meanwhile, Treasury officials are meeting with financial industry officials to discuss ways to roll back rules adopted under the Obama administration. They are due to make recommendations to the White House in early June. Some observers say they didn't view Mr. Cohn's comments as a threat. Quote, "We continue to believe that a return to some form of Glass-Steagall remains more of a headline risk rather than a real policy risk, and we think the odds are against the reinstatement of the law," Brian Gardner, an analyst with Keefe, Bruyette, and Woods, said in a note to clients Thursday. "I don't think we're concerned," said one banker at a large firm. "The bank is pleased with the direction of Mr. Trump's administration, and its executives aren't racing to change strategy or make a big new lobbying push. It's the same day as it was yesterday," the person said. "It's not a time to go crazy." Tim Pawlenty, president of the Financial Services Roundtable Trade Group, said Thursday, "Large financial institutions play a role in the American economy other institutions are not able to fill. We are working with Congress and the administration on common sense approach to financial regulation, modernization, and looking forward to more progress." Yeah, I'm sure you guys are. They're taking away the gravy train, and you guys are going to have to go back. Oh, we can't bet on Wall Street. We can't make these enormous bets, and if we win, we keep the profits. If we lose, taxpayers bail us out. Yeah, we're going to have to take that punch bowl away from you guys. Oh, so we're going to have to do loans again. Yes, you are. And our only earnings are going to come from the interest rates. Yes, correct. That's where they're supposed to be. There's a reason why the CEOs of these top banks are making hundreds of millions of dollars, many of them, which is way, 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 way more than the average worker. And I forget what the ratio they call it, but when it gets above insanity levels, the economy, it's a clear sign we got major problems. And we already passed that years ago, by the way. But again, they get to gamble and pay these people this kind of money. But when they lose, you bail them out, and they still get away with the golden parachute, a little bit of restructuring at the company to make everybody happy, and nothing changes. So again, I say completely, and I mean completely, get rid of these banks in their current huge form. Break them apart into a million pieces. I don't care. And yes, you're going to have to go back to lending money and earning whatever it is you earn on interest rates. However, having said that, the Federal Reserve all of a sudden is raising rates. Coincidental timing? Because in order for that to make these banks the money that they need, this little 3, 4, 5% interest rate stuff, and I don't even know why I said 5. We're not even at 5 yet. That ain't going to cut it. They need some interest rate hikes. They need to make some serious money. So believe me, I think the Federal Reserve is going to keep ticking away higher, and higher. When they shouldn't be doing it, when everything else is telling them the economy is not in the kind of position to do that, they have no choice. They are going to do it. Everything happens for a reason. This isn't, them making some decision. We think that they don't know what the hell they're doing. Other than all the bankers getting a little group together and decide what they need to do based off of laws they know are going to be coming, regulations they know are going to be coming. And if they determine, okay, we rode that horse till it died, guys, let's be honest, we made a lot of money on Wall Street in the bailout and everything else. And the Federal Reserve, $4.5 trillion of it buying our toxic mortgage-backed security instruments that's still sitting on its books. We made out like bandits. But we have to go back to reality now. Mr. Donald Trump's not down with our way of thinking, so we're going to have to work with him. And that means going back to earning money on interest rate loans or earning the interest on the loans, which means we got to talk to our buddies at the Federal Reserve and make sure they really jack those rates up a good bit so that we can make a lot of money. And then what's going to happen, which you're already seeing, just starting anyways, real estate, epic collapse. Just look at the 1980s, early 80s, when Alan Greenspan raised them double-digit interest rates. Housing market collapsed. Prices were extremely low. Could you imagine 17, 18% interest rate on a freaking house, on a mortgage? That would bring the price down so low, you wouldn't even know what planet you're on. Do I think they're going to go that high this time around? History says they already have, first of all. I don't know that they would go that high personally. If I was a betting man, I would honestly bet that they wouldn't go that high. Could we see 9, 10, 11? It's very possible. But just remember, one little interest rate hike on your house could mean the difference between a couple $100 more of a mortgage payment, depending on the cost of your house, to possibly $400 to $500 more per month on your house. Again, depending on the price. And that would be like a $200,000 to $400,000 house. You could expect your monthly payment to go up between $200 to $400, again, depending on the price of your house, with one simple interest rate digit higher, 1 full percentage point higher. So, anyways, he says, ultimately, even with Cohn allegedly behind the push repeal, the Glass-Steagall idea hasn't gained broad support yet, even among Democrats. As the Wall Street Journal concludes, former Federal Reserve Governor Daniel Tarullo, the Fed regulatory guru who stepped down Wednesday, by the way, who was the guy who leaked confidential information out, which is why he stepped down, was asked about Glass-Steagall earlier this week. He pointed out that in 2008, Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, two investment banks without traditional lending businesses, caused significant financial stress. Just by separating things doesn't mean people stay out of trouble, he said, adding that there would be costs to forcing banks to separate and lose the potential business advantages of combining their operations. If you are going to have those costs and still have financial stability problems, then maybe we are not getting much after all. Well, I'd rather have an investment powerhouse fail and then you can talk to your shareholders and say, guys, you lost because we lost, rather than saying we need a bailout from the taxpayer base because we are now, including our other division, we're together now, we're a bank, which means we have deposits, and the deposits are in deep trouble. And those of us who were just using the bank for deposits, for our bank account, all of a sudden are exposed to the activities that the banks were doing, or this particular bank, let's say, was doing, and now we're caught up in that, and if they fail, then our money may not be there. Oh my gosh, FDIC insurance is going to have to bail it out. They don't have enough money. It's going to cause a chain reaction, But if you just left it in the investment house, let the investment business do that only and not combine it with a bank, And if it were to fail, because it made bad bets on Wall Street or on bonds in some other European country, and it failed miserably like MF Global, then it does what any business does. CEO, he's gone. Company, bankrupt. Chapter 11, Chapter 7, whatever it is. Investors, shareholders, we're sorry, you lose. Not include the whole taxpayer base of the bank. No. So, the final thing, credit sites, De Silva says, only FDIC Vice Chairman Thomas Hoenig has put forward a detailed proposal. Implementing it could hurt global financial markets and financial stability. Sees severely harming credit profiles of the big six banks, bondholders, trading counterparties, and other bank creditors of these banks. U.S. banks' global competitive advantage and liquidity in bond and repo markets. Again, I don't care what the problem is, what you see, this could affect that. We should have never done this. You should have never became investment/banking powerhouses. So whatever the collateral damage is, it's going to be. Their issue is they don't want to give up the gravy train. We want to be made sure that we can always get bailed out if we make bad decisions. That's really what this is about. So, anyways, off to my other video. Take care.